All right, so we got the video started. So, my name is Robert Lance, and for my senior thesis, I'm writing about the idea of a mask. And when I say a mask, I mean a ethereal, kind of invisible mask, not like a drama mask. And how these masks that people wear allow them to escape social expectations. Now, that's a small and brief summary of what I'm writing about, but what's important is how I came up with this question. I came up with this question because when I was very young, I had a deep passion and love for things like superheroes or antiheroes and all those comics and such. And when I got older, I looked back at all these movies and things I just used to obsess over. I realized there was something that was very peculiar about the antihero, someone I usually idolized because they were somebody who was shunned by society, and it was because that person saw through the flaws and the lies of their modern day world. And when they get cast out, they attempt to rebuild a better society, much like a villain. But they do it for a true good. And this only developed when I read books by Jane Austen or when looking at Brave New World. I saw a continuous theme of individuals that don't even have to be superheroes or supervillains wearing a mask. A mask in your everyday life. Something that you use to say hello to the cashier and ask them how their day are when the truth is you don't care. And this doesn't apply to everyone. There's one out of every, there's that diamond in the rough who's a truly genuine caring person, cares all the time. But these masks go far beyond that. It goes to wearing it because society and social expectations tell you you have to look like this and dress like that. Otherwise, you're not relevant. And you have to think like this and talk like this. And all of these rules start to begin to pile up. And the social expectations become higher and more rigorous. And these masks give people a moment of solitude and closure because they don't have to be who they are. They can pretend to be who society wants them to be. And that sounds like a very helpful tool in the modern day society, but it only degrades your soul. As an individual wears a mask too long, they become afraid, or they don't become afraid. At one point, they will realize that they don't recognize the person underneath. So, in a summarized thing of everything I've just said, I'm writing about the fact, or what I'll prove to be a fact, that the mask is a tool developed and that is contrived from social expectations that individuals use to hide from those expectations. But these masks, while they do some good, cause a lot more bad. They cause someone to forget about their own individualistic identity and degrade themselves. And more importantly, what I also like to discuss is the process of shedding that mask. And there are a couple ways I believe this is done, which I get into greater detail of in my thesis. But most importantly, it's either between the help from others and genuine human connection or out of self-interest, because you genuinely need to make a change. The books that I find very helpful to discuss this are Brave New World, Pride and Prejudice, and Fahrenheit 451 for starters, because all of these show instances where everyone is judged by how they act in society. In Pride and Prejudice, Darcy has his little speech while they're all playing cards about what a woman must do to be deserving of the world. And in Brave New World, everyone has to look beautiful, and either if you're not an alpha or a beta, you're disgusting. And in Fahrenheit 451, everything is material. There's nothing that's emotional or soulful anymore. And that's with curricular text, but also a picture of Dorian Gray shows a great example of the individualistic spectrum when someone wears a mask for too long. He becomes a monster underneath. The portrait that allows Dorian Gray to have eternal youth slowly resembles his soul as he lives on. And as Dorian keeps on aging and keeps on doing sinful and terrible things, his image in the painting begins to become disgusting until he's driven to suicide in the end. Which is similar to Brave New World. The savage sees this disgusting world, and the only option that he can see was suicide because no one cared about anything of substance, of anything important anymore, just the masks. So, I'll try to do my thesis now, my thesis statement. Ultimately, masks are the result of social expectations where people are forced to hide who they are so they can fit in with society. While at some points masks are helpful, the end result is the same. The individual ignores their identity and what's healthy for them, and the best way to shed this mask is through self-respect and self-interest, or through the help of someone who can recall you back to life, the help of genuine human connection.